Why do some people survive unimaginable suffering while others lose hope? This is not just a question for historians or philosophers. It is the fundamental question that defines the very essence of what it means to be human. Is there a secret strength hidden within us? A force that can withstand the greatest pressures of life, even when everything else has been stripped away? In the darkest chapter of the 20th century, amidst the shadow of the Holocaust, one man found an answer that changed the field of psychology forever. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and a survivor, discovered that even in the face of total annihilation, meaning is the most powerful force in the human soul. It is the invisible thread that keeps the heart beating when the body has nothing left to give. It is the ultimate anchor in the storm of existence. Today, we journey into the heart of that discovery, exploring the wisdom born from the abyss. This is the story of man's search for meaning. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 2. Life in the concentration camps. To understand Frankl's insight, we must first look into the abyss. We must understand the environment where humanity was systematically erased. The camps were designed to break the human spirit. It wasn't just the physical torture, it was the psychological degradation. Starvation was a constant, gnawing presence. Prisoners lived on a thin soup and a single piece of bread each day, a diet that turned the body into a skeleton and the mind into a narrow cage focused only on food. Forced labor was relentless. Prisoners were made to work in freezing temperatures with inadequate clothing, digging trenches or hauling stone. Constant fear was the very air they breathed. In this machine of death, the individual was reduced to a mere number. Possessions were seized. Watches, wedding rings, photographs, all gone. Hair was shorn. Identity was replaced by a number tattooed on the arm. Frankl was no longer a doctor. He was prisoner number 119-104. This total loss of identity led many to a state of apathy, a psychological numbness where they no longer felt anything. But even in this state, Frankl observed that the spirit could flicker. He saw that those who had some reason to live, a why, were the ones who had the best chance of surviving the how. Those who lost hope, who could no longer see any future, were the first to die. They simply gave up, and their bodies followed their spirits into the darkness. But for those who held on to a task or a person, meaning became the lifeblood of survival. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 3. The Power of Meaning. Frankl's central life-altering insight is that humans are not driven primarily by pleasure or power, but by the will to meaning. He famously observed that those who believed their life still had a task to fulfill, a person to love, or a work to complete, were more likely to survive the impossible. Meaning provides a psychological shield. It creates an inner world that the external world cannot penetrate. Frankl would imagine himself back at his university in Vienna, delivering a lecture to a rapt audience about the very psychology of the camps. This mental exercise gave him the distance he needed to survive the daily horrors. He realized that life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by a lack of meaning and purpose. When we have a purpose, our pain is no longer just pain. It becomes a part of a journey. Frankl saw that prisoners who had a task to fulfill in the future, be it a child waiting for them, a scientific work to finish, or a deep spiritual faith, were the ones who held on. Meaning is not something we invent out of thin air. It is something we discover within the reality of our lives. It is unique to each individual. For one man, meaning was found in the memory of his wife's smile. For another, it was the duty to tell the world what happened. This will to meaning is the primary motivation for life. It is the force that allows us to find beauty in a sunset seen through barbed wire, or to share our last crust of bread with a dying friend. It is the ultimate testament to the human spirit's resilience. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 4. Logotherapy. Out of the ashes of the camps, Frankl developed a new school of psychology called logotherapy. Unlike other schools that focus on past traumas or biological drives, logotherapy focuses on the future and the meanings to be fulfilled by the patient. Frankl believed that our primary drive is the search for meaning. We are not just biological machines reacting to stimuli, we are meaning seekers. Logotherapy suggests that true mental health is found not in the absence of tension, but in the presence of a goal worthy of our effort. In the modern world, we often suffer from what Frankl called the existential vacuum, a sense of emptiness that haunts even the most successful lives. We have the means to live, but often no meaning to live for. This vacuum manifests as boredom, depression, and aggression. Frankl taught that we should not ask what the meaning of life is, but rather, we should recognize that life is asking us. We answer by being responsible. Responsibility is the essence of human existence. By taking up our cross, our unique task in the world, we find the fulfillment we crave. Logotherapy doesn't just treat the mind, it addresses the spirit. It encourages us to look beyond our immediate problems toward our potential. It is a psychology of hope, reminding us that no matter how much we have suffered, our future is still unwritten. We are the authors of our own lives, capable of rewriting our narrative even when the external world is in chaos. This shift in perspective from victim to actor is the heart of Frankl's therapeutic approach, empowering us to find meaning in every moment. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 5. The Three Sources of Meaning. Frankl identified three main ways we find purpose. The first is through achievement, creating something of value or doing a work that matters. This is the meaning found in action, in our unique contribution to the world. The second source is through love, experiencing something or someone in their uniqueness. Love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of their personality. Through relationships and connection, we find a reflection of our own significance. But the third source is the most profound, our attitude toward unavoidable suffering. When we are no longer able to change a situation, be it a terminal illness, a personal loss, or an unfair fate, we are challenged to change ourselves. Even in the depths of despair, we can find meaning in the way we bear our burden. We can turn a personal tragedy into a human triumph. This is the tragic optimism of Viktor Frankl. It is the ability to say yes to life in spite of everything. It means making the best out of any situation. This third source ensures that life has potential meaning under any conditions, right up to the very last breath. We are never truly helpless because we always have the power to choose our attitude. This is the ultimate resilience, the realization that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always control how we let it affect us. We find meaning by choosing to be worthy of our suffering, transforming our pain into a testament of human dignity. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 6. The Freedom to Choose. This is the cornerstone of Frankl's philosophy. He famously wrote that everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This is the space between stimulus and response. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. In the concentration camps, Frankl saw men who walked through the huts comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offered sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man, but the freedom to choose his way. We are not fully determined by our environment or our biology. We have what Frankl called the will to meaning. This freedom is not freedom from conditions, but freedom to take a stand toward those conditions. We are the architects of our own internal response. This insight tells us that we are not victims of our circumstances. We are the masters of our own souls. Even in the most oppressive and inhumane conditions, the human spirit can remain free. This freedom is the source of our dignity and our humanity. When we realize this, we stop blaming the world for our unhappiness and start looking for the meaning that will set us free. It is a radical responsibility, but it is also the ultimate liberation. It is the knowledge that our inner life is ours alone, and no force on earth can take it unless we surrender it. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 7. Meaning in Modern Life. Today, we live in a world of unprecedented comfort and technology, yet many struggle with the existential vacuum. We have conquered many physical diseases, but we are plagued by spiritual ones: anxiety, depression, and a pervasive sense of boredom. These often stem from a lack of meaning. When we have a why to live for, we can survive any how. But without a why, even the most comfortable life can feel unbearable. Many people try to fill this vacuum with pleasure, power, or endless distractions, but these are only temporary fixes that leave the soul hungrier than before. The true cure is to find a unique purpose. Finding a purpose gives us a fixed point on the horizon, a north star to guide us through the complexities of the modern world. It allows us to navigate the storms of life with resilience and grace. Frankl's ideas are more relevant now than ever. In a fast-paced, digital age, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We must intentionally seek out the meaning in our work, our relationships, and even our struggles. Purpose is not a destination we reach, it is a way of traveling. It is a mindset that seeks the potential for meaning in every moment. When we live with purpose, we are no longer just surviving, we are truly living. We become more resilient, more compassionate, and more alive. Logotherapy offers a way back to ourselves, a way to find the light in the middle of our own personal darkness, reminding us that we are always needed for something or by someone. 知识产权状况及法律效力. Section 8. Final Lesson and Legacy. Life will always include suffering. It is an inescapable part of the human condition. But Viktor Frankl teaches us that suffering itself is not meaningless. What matters is the meaning we choose to give it. We can be broken by our pain, or we can use it as a catalyst for growth and transformation. As Frankl famously said, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The search for meaning is not a luxury. It is a necessity for survival. It is the light that guides us through the dark, the anchor that holds us in the storm, and the ultimate triumph of the human spirit. Frankl's legacy is a testament to the fact that no matter how dark the night, the dawn of meaning is always within reach. We must stop asking what the meaning of life is and start acting like the people who are being asked. Our life is our answer. Every day, every hour, we are being questioned by life. 知识产权状况及法律效力. We respond by our actions, by our choices, and by our attitude. This is the highest potential of the human being. We are the creators of meaning. In the end, it is not what we expect from life, but what life expects from us. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is more than a book. It is a survival guide for the human soul. It reminds us that our spirit is invincible if we give it a reason to be. Your search for meaning is the most important journey you will ever take. Choose your attitude, find your why, and you will find your way. The light is always there, even in the heart of the darkness. Look for it, live for it, and let it lead you home. Welcome to the search. Your meaning is waiting to be discovered. 知识产权状况及法律效力.